cut it off as Bergie Niz. I didn't realize that.
All right, here we go. It's a special edition Friday night nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. I'm Chad Brendel. Aaron Smith out for Ed Mayhall's birthday tonight, so they're out having a good time. And I was gonna record this one solo tonight, and then I got a message about 30 minutes ago. Hey, I want to do the nightcap with you. All right. Then why not just blow it up and do something special, right? Let's do something special for the nightcap tonight. It's Friday night. We're going live. Okay, hold on. We're going live on YouTube. Let me share this here. We gotta. Usually, like, this is where Aaron is really important. Is I can talk and Aaron takes care of the.
Am I live on here?
Oh yeah, we're live, baby.
So you're saying I need to fill some airspace right now? Okay.
Just for a second here. I'm almost there. Let's see.
Johnny Newman. Yeah. John Newman is such an AAC dynamo. He's so built for this league. Like do they have him for one more year?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Ooh, okay. I mean, I bet he'd be a double-figure scorer next year for sure, and I bet he'll be a big impact maker.
All right, here we go. I think we're ready to go. All right. Brought to you, as always, by our great friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. GalacticFriedChicken.com. Download the app for everything. Android, iPhone, Galactic. Get delivery. See, that's the thing. Berg and I were talking just before we went on. The Bergie Nizites shows up here. So we're good. I can see Bergie Nizites.
Glad to hear it.
So I don't know how you haven't had Galactic yet, Justin, because you said you're a chicken tenders guy.
Yeah.
If you're a chicken tenders guy and you haven't had Galactic, you're doing it wrong. The sauce, their house specialty, the sauce, Chipotle honey mustard.
All right.
It is unbelievable good. And
let me tell you why I haven't had it.
And the tenders are like the size of your face.
I'll tell you why I haven't had it. Because there's a restaurant called Tendertown. There's only 2 locations. I'm just telling you that I like it so much that that's where I've been going with my chicken tender choices for a while now, because it's just the last few years. So I haven't gotten to Galactic because I haven't needed to even try anything else. But I will try Galactic.
All right. You can also go to GalacticFriedChicken.com. They'll deliver to you. They pretty much cover the entire Cincinnati area. So they will deliver to you.
What kind of sides they work? What kind of sides are they working with?
They have crinkle fries, delicious. Really good mac and cheese, mashed potatoes. They do fried pickles. I'm trying to think what else I'm missing. I'm sure there's some vegetables in there, but
what kind of any kind of desserts?
No, not really.
No nonsense. No desserts there. No nonsense. Galactic. I like that. Okay. I'll give it a shot. Gladly.
I mean, if you're going to be on the show, you got to give them a shot. That's just,
Yeah. But don't I get like a free meal since I'm on the show? I mean, what's going on with that?
We'll have to work on that. Now they do have shakes, milkshakes.
Okay, there you go. That's all you need then. Okay.
And you can put bourbon in them.
I don't need that.
You don't need bourbon in your milkshake?
No, I'm all set with just the straight regular milkshake.
There's beer, there's wine, there's hard seltzers.
What about the indoor? Is it like a place to hang there?
Yeah, they've got a restaurant. They've got a nice little seating area indoor, and then during the summer, they also have an outdoor seating area.
All right.
So it's just in Dayton, Kentucky. It's right there across from downtown. Easy to get to. You go 471, you get off the first exit like you're going to the levee. And instead of going to the levee, You head through Bellevue into Dayton. It's on the right-hand side right there on Route 8. Easy to get to.
Route 8.
Route 8. Aaron lives downtown. He can get there in 12 minutes.
Route 8. That's all
Route
you got to know. If you can just tell everyone, just get me to Route 8. Just
get to Route 8 and then just keep driving until on the right-hand side you see the giant sign that says Galactic Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll do it. All right.
Got it. Sold.
So let's get to why you're here. Today was the end of I don't know what the situation's going to be if they get an invite to one of the I don't think the NIT is going to happen. If they take care of business against like Tulsa and USF, there's probably a pretty good chance this is a 20-win team and they're playing in the NIT, but they didn't. So does the CBI or the whatever invite them? Probably. Do they accept? We'll see. My guess is, knowing what I know of Wes, he'll leave it up to the team.
Yeah.
And the team will want to play.
It's so strange, though, to think that they beat Illinois by 20 and took Arkansas to the wire. By the way, middle fingers to Eric Musselman in parentheses right there. And then now we're talking about they're not even going to get to the NIT. I mean, that's just hard to believe with how good they look in those two games. What do you make of that?
It's easy to look good when there's no scouting report really on you. When nobody really knows who you are and what you're about.
Yeah.
Like you sneak up on people. Like that's kind of it's the double-edged sword of a new coach, right? Like you look really good until everything you do is on Synergy. Like you're a Synergy guy, right?
I wish I had better access to Synergy. I mean, I've only ever seen the stats. I've never gotten to be like cut the film guy. It's frustrating. They won't fucking let me do it.
When there's nothing out there on you, you're hard to defend, or at least you're not predictable or easy to defend. I think what happened in a couple spurts, Justin, if we're being honest. I think Arkansas exposed some weaknesses in that game that obviously everybody copycats one another, right? So they showed some weaknesses in that game on this isn't a great rebounding team. We found that out as the season went on. Arkansas really attacked the glass and exposed that this wasn't a team that had a lot of athleticism or length that could rebound out of area. And they didn't have strong hands.
Oh my God.
This team needs a full offseason with Mike Rayfeld doing the hand drills, right?
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of times they had rebounds.
How about doing the squat and stick your butt and hold it on a guy drills? 4 million of those a day. I mean, if you're not athletic enough, make them foul you to get it at least. Like I did not see much boxing out this year. But that was that first, right before the season, you sent me to that practice. You had something else to do. That was the only one I saw, but about 90% of the time there, Wes was all on them about rebounding. He was like, "Go get it. What are you scared of? Go get it."
Right?
And he was kept, and it was amazing. And then meanwhile, while he was doing that, I was sitting there looking around and being like, "Man, where's the shot creation on this team? We have a under 6 foot guy that can, but is there anyone else that can?" And the answer was kind of no. And I was like, "Ooh, that's gonna be a tough road to hoe for this squad." So he saw the rebounding, I saw the lack of shot creation, and so I picked 18 and 13 when I was there. That was my prediction.
I said somewhere between 17 and 19, and I hit 17 in the regular season and right in the middle as the total. But those both takes were right. Like this was a team that didn't have great shot creation. It was a team that struggled on the glass. And it was I think most importantly, it was a team that didn't have anybody you could throw the ball to and get a bucket.
Yeah.
Like, get me a bucket. We run a couple actions, pin down, hand up, get me the ball, turn around, put it in the basket. There was none of that on this team. And when you don't have when it's not an option, right? Then teams can just say, all right, we're playing one-on-one in the post.
Yeah,
we're not worried about.
Yeah, they got drilled in the post all year from that Georgia game to many other games. And I never really saw them double team. I mean, especially Come on, Fabian White. God, how many times is he going to hit everything before you put another guy?
No, I mean, we're talking about offensively is what I'm
I know.
talking
I'm
about.
just saying, but that was something that I saw. But keep going.
Like double teaming a guy like Fabian White. If you watch Houston, they are elite at passing out of double teams because teams try to run that at him all the time.
I'd rather see somebody else do it than him. Like, I'm tired of it. That's how I would have to approach it. But anyway, I mean,
The crazy thing is
that has nothing to do with the whole season, though. It's just,
right. The crazy thing is, I thought Jeremiah did as good a job as humanly possible on him today. He just had 3 inches on him. So he just rose up in the second half, especially. He just rose up over Jeremiah and shot over him. Like, okay, you played great defense. You dug me out. You rooted me out of the post. You got me to 12 feet. All right, here you go. I'm still going to put it in right over top of you. Like that. That's the other thing. Just not enough length and athleticism.
Yeah. I mean, Newman was the right call on him, I think, and he went to him later.
Sure.
It's weird. I mean, like Newman can kind of be like a 4 if you have 3, really good, creators or shooters or whatever. I think he could kind of play bigger than he is just with his length and athleticism against most teams, but they never really did. I mean, we have so many big guys on this team.
Yeah. I forgot what we're talking about. Houston 69, Cincinnati 56, the final game for the Bearcats in the American Athletic Conference tournament. They finished the season 18-15. Like I said, we'll see if they end up in a tournament or if they decide, it's time to get to work on the offseason, time to focus on what's next. And it's just
what is next. Let's go to what
we don't
know about what's next. Well, what do we
nothing
know, right? What do you mean?
Well, we know that Hayden Koval and Abdul Adu are done.
Some things. Yeah.
They have exhausted their eligibility. Rob Banks was on scholarship this year. He missed the season with a knee injury. I do not expect him to be on scholarship next year. That clears 3 places for the 3 incoming freshmen: Daniel Skillings, Josh Reed, and Sage Tolentino. Length being the primary, like when you look at these 3. Skillings, 6'7", 7-foot wingspan. Reed, 6'7", 7'1" wingspan. And then
Jesus.
Sage is 7 foot. And 7 foot, 7'1", like a reasonable wingspan for him. So I think that doesn't that tell you, Justin? Wes saw and knew immediately we've got to get longer, we've got to get bigger. Like when you watch, that's the thing that jumped out to me, especially
against Houston.
Memphis, here's the thing:
the whole league. Yeah.
So remember when I talked about Arkansas exposed that weakness of you can hammer them on the offensive glass,
right?
I don't know if you agree with this or not. Probably not, because we never agree. We just argue, which is always fun. DeJulius goes on that run of multiple 20-point games, 3 multiple 20-point games. And the scouting report on Cincinnati changed from, trying to just run them off the perimeter to stopping David DeJulius. If we can stop David DeJulius, this team doesn't have enough to score to beat us, right? Memphis was really the first team that started aggressively trying to get the ball out of his hands.
Ooh.
What you got in there, buddy?
Just a little frosty that was in the freezer that I forgot about.
Memphis aggressively tried to they were high hedging ball screens, they were blitzing ball screens, they were doing everything possible, get the ball out of DeJulius's hands, and this offense just doesn't have enough to beat us. And then everybody
they almost
copied.
Did. But on that first game, I still can't believe that it was.
They hit 16 threes, Justin.
I know. Yeah, I guess it's very rare. That's just happened to hit them.
But then everybody else copied it, right? They said, "Oh, okay, this is the recipe. Don't make it impossible."
I said, yeah. When I saw the team, I was like, "Here's one shot creator, and he's 5'11". It's Okay, so most teams in that league are going to be able to at least make it tough. I mean, he's still got some numbers, but the thing with him, I expected him to have more assists this year. I know he was supposed to be one of the scorers, but then
He had a
again,
lot,
I guess
especially as teams started running and jumping him, he started passing more
maybe
because he
maybe the
needed
guys
to.
the guys just didn't make shots. He probably should have at
Justin.
least averaged 5 or 6, but if on a regular shooting team.
Yeah, I
So-
did the numbers for conference play. What do you think this team shot from 2 in conference play?
45.
44.1.
Okay.
What do you think they shot from 3 in conference play?
32.
32.8.
I don't
So
know.
you're right.
How I
You're
knew
right in that range, but it's a team that struggled to put the ball in the basket.
Yeah.
From 2, from 3.
What were they from the foul line?
Oftentimes from the free throw line. I don't have that.
Line?
I don't have it pulled up right now.
Probably
it wasn't
like
great.
67.4
Right.
or something. Yeah.
It wasn't great. They were good at times.
Yeah.
But
so
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, so can we go through who we know is going to be on the roster for next year and just go through each one and what they did this year and looking ahead, like starting with Saunders. Can we start with Saunders?
All right, I'm not kicking anybody off the team. If that's what you're looking for me to do, I'm not doing it. I don't know.
No, I'm saying how can they improve the following year?
Well, everybody wants me to
say
like, who's getting kicked. I'm kicking everybody.
Yeah.
This roster needs an enema. that's the belief. Like 5 guys have to go. Yeah, that's not how it works.
Well, the roster was put together like this, right? So he gets there, and there was like 2 or 3 guys. Adams, Woods, and Davenport never said they were leaving. Neither did the Julius.
Right.
He came back at the end.
And
so then he was like, all right. So he's like, all right. So there's 3. Then he's like, all right, look, 3 guys are transferring. I'm going to try to sell them real quick because that's a quick way to do it. 2 out of 3. There's 5. Then he goes back. He's like, well, I don't have a lot of time here. I'm going to go to my old school and grab 3. And then there was 8. And then he goes out and gets 3 other guys that were from major programs. How do you pronounce this goddamn name? Guy that was a 00 guy. How is it a do if it's an O there? Wouldn't it be ADU then? Why wouldn't you spell it like that?
Well, DO is pronounced do.
I mean, yeah, but whatever. Make it easier. And Chris Laporte told me no, maybe he was effing with me.
No, I think there was some confusion initially on how it was pronounced.
He told me
and then Newman and then Odie.
Yeah, Odie, yeah. Odie, by the way, I would like to do a little post-defense clinic for him at 6 feet tall and see if he can just play like I play. And I bet he would be more effective. He needs to go to the Yancey school. Like he doesn't have good shot block timing, so don't mess with that. Just get good positioning. I mean,
yeah, he's also a lot. He's not quite as thick as Yancey,
but he's 6'9", so it's like just wall up, bro, and just like stay in front.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Don't try to reach or any of this shit. Just stay there, keep your hands up, and then at the last second, jump a little. So, but how about what would you say on this year's team? Maybe it'll be like this glaring thing that needs to improve, just overall as a team.
There's a couple things. They absolutely need more length.
Right.
They absolutely need more length. Like that, you can't win in college basketball if you're at or below like average length at every position. It's just not how the game is played anymore.
Okay.
And especially defensively. Like if you're going to cover ground, you do it with size and length. Like it makes up for so much. Think about what an extra 2 or 3 inches does to a hand in the passing lane.
Yeah.
Where the ball gets by you and somebody dunks it on your head, or you get a hand on it. And even if they get it back, like it slows up the action.
So you're saying he's already addressing that with the 3 recruits coming in, 6'5", 6'6", and 7 feet.
So no, 6'7", 6'7", 7 feet.
Oh, I thought Skillings was 6'5". He's 6'7". No way.
6'7". Yeah.
Holy shit.
He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's a 2-guard.
Oh my God. Okay. Holy shit. All right. I didn't realize that. I thought he was 6'5", and I thought Reed was 6'6". Okay. So then you got those in 7 feet. And so from the holdovers, Hensley's got good size and length.
6'7", 6'8", yeah.
I bet he's 6'8". I was there. I saw him.
He's right around 6'7", 6'8". Like he's in that range.
And he's athletically can play in the AAC.
Sure.
I don't, and so can Newman. So those are like your two best length and length/athleticism options, at least holding over. And then you add in three guys with length. We don't know about anything about them yet. So then what else is left? Because you lose this. Oh, you got Victor Locken. So what the hell happened with Victor Locken this year after the first month?
Injuries.
Give me really injuries? It wasn't.
Yeah. He had a nagging hip issue. That the biggest problem, and it goes back to a lot of what we've talked about over the past 2 weeks. He just couldn't practice. Like they would get him through treatment. He'd be able to do walkthroughs, whatever, to like go through things, but he never really could go full blast in practice.
Damn,
so that was the biggest. Well, he had a knee injury when he got here that cost him last year. And then right when he started to get on the floor in the spring, about this time last year, he hurt his knee again. So he spent another 4 or 5 months kind of dealing with that. And then when he got into the season, he had a hip injury. So it was basically just like management. Like, we need to get him on the floor because he's one of our more talented guys, but he never really got to develop every day in practice. So
what you're saying is basically this Victor Locken season was the all-time Blue Balls Bearcat season of a player.
Kind of, yeah.
We've ever had. Because he got off to a hot start. That Illinois game, he looked like, holy shit, we got this dude.
Right.
And then that Arkansas game happened. He had 5 turnovers. And, he didn't play much. He never got any looks. Like, he never got to touch the ball when I watched. I didn't watch a lot of conference play because, God damn, I'm sick of AAC basketball.
But the problem was Arkansas showed double him, and he can't handle it. Like, he didn't have that. That's not really a thing in European, style basketball. Like, double teams or, guards digging down, swatting at the ball. So as soon as that was on tape in the Arkansas game, then just everybody did it. The minute he got a touch, they went after him.
Man.
Smart move, because he didn't know how to handle it. He got better as the season went on, but it's something he's going to have to work a ton on in the offseason.
And he never. Do you think he could turn into a 3-point shooter?
His 3-point shot's not bad. I don't know if he's ever going to be 50%, but I think he's somebody that if you learn how to pick and pop with him, I think he could be a 32, 33, 34% guy, which for a 7'5", big man, that can help you. That can help you immensely.
Yeah. He probably should just play him on the perimeter because that way that limits the chances he'll have turnovers / getting double teamed.
I think you have to teach him how to play in the post.
Well, but
you have to have somebody on the roster that can catch and get you a bucket, Berg. And he's got the touch around the rim to do it. He's just got to get to his move.
Yeah.
Without losing the ball.
Well, what they need is better spacing so that he can go one-on-one down there.
Yes.
And that was a major problem. So, all right. So if you look at, he's presumably coming back as probably, I don't know, he's got to be your starting 5, right?
We'll see what the portal has to say, right?
Yeah. Let's just assume that nothing good comes out of that, and he would start. And then you got Aguama and Newman. You got Aguama and Newman and him. And Hensley. That's your 4 front court players. And then Tolentino.
But Davenport's played mostly the 4.
Oh, yeah, Davenport. Yeah. Dude, here. So Davenport, it's a tough thing for you. It's a tough thing with Davenport, right? Because he's not really a 3 and he's not really a 4. So it's tough.
He's more of a 4 than he is a 3.
Yeah, but he's not a 4 that can guard real 4s. Right, he can't guard Fabian White. He has no chance. So and he doesn't rebound well enough to play the 4 either. So that's why I don't think he can be a 4. But then you put him at the 3. He can shoot well enough to be a 3.
No, he can shoot well enough to be a 4.
Well,
a stretch 4 that actually creates. We're just talking about poor spacing, right? At least Jeremiah at the 4 can create some spacing for you.
Correct. He does create a little bit of spacing. You're right. So he does have value. So okay, so him, and then Saunders. Let's talk about Saunders a little because he looked smooth early in the season. And then, like I told you, I didn't really watch a lot of conference play. I just can't stand AAC basketball, and this year's UC team just didn't quite, move me to like really sit down and watch every play. I just didn't. They didn't grab me this year enough. But so I didn't see a lot. But I mean, it seemed to me like he was very inconsistent. Which I mean, he's a sophomore, and then there were certain games where he would have high assist numbers and other games where he would get the double figures in scoring, but not really, both. But I also realized that obviously Adams Woods had the ball in his hands a lot this year, and DeJulius. So, I mean, where do you think Saunders improved this year? What did you see from him on that?
The biggest thing with Mike, for me, is confidence. When he's playing with confidence, he looks really good. Like the problem was he had that stretch in the middle of the year where teams had figured out he's going to go left. He's going to try to finish on the left side of the rim in traffic, and he's going to get by his primary defender with his speed. So then the weak side big wouldn't have to step up because he wasn't going to take a 12-footer, right? He generally wasn't going to pass because, he's moving so fast. He's going to try to get the ball up on the rim as he gets to the left side of the glass. And the weak side defender would just stand there and volleyball spike it.
Yeah.
It was like 6 games in a row where he couldn't, he would try the same move every time. And again, we're in an era where everything you do is spliced and cut and dissected, and there's somebody on every staff that's sitting and watching over and over again every play that you make in the game. Every time the ball is in your hands, they're going to know. Whoa, where'd you go, Berg? You there? Uh-oh, we lost Berg. Hopefully he knows to just click the link and come back. But again, on Mikey, they knew what his plan of attack was. They knew what he was trying to accomplish. And when that becomes apparent, then you're in trouble because they just overplay and they wait for you to get to your spot and they react. There we go. He's back.
The stats. I'm on my phone. So do you have the ability to pull up the stats and I can stay on here? I just want to see what everybody shot from 3 on the whole roster.
I don't have the ability to put them on screen, but I can tell you. Let me pull it up. Again, it's just a matter of when he started figuring out what was wrong. When he started figuring out what was wrong with his game, he lost confidence because teams knew what he was trying to do. They took it away from him, and he couldn't figure out a counter.
Right.
But then, over the final probably 2 to 3 weeks, he started to figure out that counter. He started to play with a little bit more pace. He started to, move in and out. What the? What are we doing here, American Athletic Conference?
Why? What happened?
I'm looking at this, and they've got they've got all the ECU players' stats incorporated in with the UC player stats. What are we doing? DeJulius, 29.7% from 3. Davenport, 35.7. Adams Woods, 26, which is a drastic fall off a cliff
from 2 years ago.
Yeah. Mikey shot 34.7% on.
Whoa. Are you kidding me?
No, 75 attempts.
Okay, I'm on him. I like him. He's going to be good. He's going to be good for us.
Newman just under 34%. Mason Madsen 35.4%. Koval 26, and that about sums it up.
Wait, what was Mason?
35.4.
Oh, he got over 35. Okay.
And he shot just a little bit more than Mikey. He shot 79 threes. Mikey shot 71. Mikey was 24 for 71. Mason was 28 for 79.
So let's say they don't get anyone in the transfer portal. I mean, they're going to, but let's just take them out of this equation. With all the guys coming back, what's your starting five?
Oh, come on, Justin.
Like assuming DeJulius isn't back. How about that?
That makes it even more ridiculous. I mean, I don't know, man. Like the season ended today. I mean, I think. Look, I think there's going to be a hard conversation that has to be had at point guard with one of the two guys, because I think you have to find a way to find a bridge point guard that's a high level point guard, that has some size, that has some length, that has some creativity. So that makes it tough. Like, you're going to have some tough conversations there. I honestly, the more I look at the roster, I think you need three spots. I think you need a point guard. I think you need a wing with some scoring pop and some length. And I think you need a big that can protect the rim and give you a little bit more offense than Abdul did. Think about how different, like, think how many close games they were in. I think Abdul gave him like 2.5, almost 3 points a game. Think if you got a center that it's maybe not going to protect the rim quite as good, but still was a factor, still was a presence.
Yeah.
And also gave you 7 points a game.
So can Victor Locken protect the rim? He's a pretty good shot blocker.
His shot blocking's pretty good.
I mean, I just think it's a no-brainer, dude. Just play Victor Locken. Like, just get him physically ready and play him at the 5. Like, it's just, he's skilled as shit. He can block shots. Like, I mean, like he's got to be your 5. So let's say he's at the 5. I think Newman's in your starting lineup, no doubt.
Newman has to be. Like, Newman is a Bearcat. Like, he is the epitome of a Bearcat.
Yeah, he's either at the 3 or the 2. And, I mean...
The 3. He's a 3. Yeah. He's not a 2.
Okay. You
need a scorer at the 2.
For sure. So who would that be?
If Dave stays, that's Dave.
Right.
And I think, like, the question... The math, the solution here to the problem... If Dave stays, you have to get a longer, taller point guard because you can't be 6 foot, 6'3", 6'2".
Yeah,
at the guard, like you can't. Those can't be your primary guys on the floor. So I think that's important.
Why can't Dave play point guard? I don't understand.
It's just he's not comfortable with it. Like he's
more.
But
I mean, here, so if you have other guys that can create shots on the floor, as long as he can create a shot. You just have to have more guys that create shots, whether he's the point guard or not. You know,
he could be your de facto point guard. But if you want a point guard, he's not it.
I know, but if you're thinking about size, like, so I mean, if you can't find a taller point guard, like, so it's probably got to be like he's at the point and Saunders backs him up. I don't know. And you got to go bigger in the rest of your backcourt because, like you said, it was hard to play against these teams with 2 small guards. It just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Brian wants to know, Berg, why aren't you walking around the house? Why aren't you pacing? Because it's long form, Brian.
I'm standing here in my kitchen though. I'm not sitting down. I'm just kind of like grabbing stuff to eat and, just, kind of getting some time to myself, or it's a family of 2 kids. And, so I'm just enjoying myself, like grabbing.
Remember that none of this was planned. This all came together at like 10 o'clock. Berg was like, let's do a show. You've missed doing shows.
What would you say?
Don't lie. You've missed doing shows.
This team hasn't. Again, maybe not for this team. Like, let's go to the Big 12 and then we'll see. I'm such a fair weather fan right now in my life, and I'm cool with it. Like, I'm a big Bengals fan after 15 years of hating.
Oh, I hate you, Berg.
Hating / avoiding them. So this year's UC team, so what do they play? 32 games? I probably watched
33.
like 20 or 22 of them. Like I missed a good chunk. I was just like, they're playing South Florida. Nah, I'm out. Oh, they're playing Temple. I'm tired of watching us play Temple. I'm good on that. Then I'd be like, oh, we're playing Memphis. I'll check out the Memphis game and, SMU because I like Jankovic. I like watching his teams play. And I did watch some of the Houston games, not all of them, but it was just like, God damn, man, like they kept scoring and UC kept not scoring so many times. And all 3 games total, it just buried them every time. So it was frustrating.
So I'm curious, what do you take from when you look at the 3 Houston games? Right? So the first game, Houston jumps out, 20-3, I think it was.
Yeah.
And just, Cincinnati had a chance they got it a little bit close right before halftime. Or at least made a run. But obviously not good enough. Then the second game, they go to Houston. It's a 4-point game at halftime. A 1-point game until Houston hits a last-second 3, pushes it to 4. Then Houston controls the second half. So the game at Cincinnati, Houston won 80-58. It was bad. Yeah. The second game at Houston, 71-53, but a 4-point game at halftime. And then,
wait, what was the first point total? 58, 53.
80-58.
So they never got to 60 against them. I mean, that just tells you all you need to know right there. In 3
Houston's
games.
elite defensively.
I know, but I mean, come on. 3 times, you can't get there at least once. Like
Justin, if you're bad on offense and your opponent is great, elite on defense, what the hell do you think is going to happen, dude?
I'm just saying, like that's all I'm saying is that proves how limited their offense was. If you're like somebody's like how bad were they offensively? You'd be like, well, they played this one team 3 times and they never got to 60 any of the times. They're like, oh shit, okay, that bad, huh?
But they did drop Houston from 80 to 71 to 69. That's improvement, right? At least you figured out some things. Like the shocking thing, I think, if I told you today, with the struggles this team has had on the defensive glass, what do you think the offensive rebound count was today? How many did Cincinnati have? How many did Houston have?
I have no idea. I didn't watch the whole game. So maybe 12 for them and 6 for UC.
15 for Cincinnati. 9 for Houston.
Cool.
Houston only had 8 second chance points in the game. So that is coaching, right? That is taking an area and coaching the shit out of it to make sure, because that was the difference. If you look at the 3 games, if you go back to that first game, Houston murdered Cincinnati on the offensive glass. That's how they get to 80. You at least gave yourself a chance in this game because you made it difficult. No,
yeah,
Brian,
you're right.
Brian, I know you're looking. I know you're looking at the second half, Brian. But if you look at the first half of this game, Houston only shot 42% from the floor. They were 9 of 21. They were 1 of 9 from 3
only
today.
42. UC would be enchanted to get to 42 against Houston. What did UC shoot from the field today?
You don't want to know.
Was it under 30?
28.8.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So all right, so here. So oh my God. It was that low? Jeez. Yeah, so Wes Miller did not have a lot to work with offensively on this team. And yet he won 18 games. He beat Illinois. He had a chance to beat Memphis on the road. He had the close games, whatever. Just when the margin for error is negative margin for error when you're this bad at creating shots and / when you get any shots, you aren't a good shooting team. It's a hard thing. They don't get fouled enough. Like it was just rough year.
They got fouled in the first half. That's how they were up 5 in the first half, and they grew to lead to 10 at the start of the second half. Was they were getting fouled and getting to the line, I think they were 12 of 15 from the line in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
So they scored what? They scored 32 points in the first half, and 12 of them were from the free throw line.
See, I didn't see the first half because I forgot the game was on. And then someone said they're up by 5 at half. I said, all right, I'll watch some. And then it was like, oh, Houston keeps scoring, and Cincinnati keeps not scoring. And then it was like, wait, Cincinnati was up by 9. Now they're down by 14. So I picked the wrong portion of the game to watch.
You should have stopped watching, you dumbass. When you weren't watching, things were fine.
No, but they actually kind of like they made some plays to kind of stay in it. Like Newman got to the hole and got and ones, and Davenport made a crazy 3 on the right, that right wing one where he like went to his right step back and swished it to go from 6 to 3, so that didn't get out of hand just yet. But then after a few of those, then when those dried up, it got out of hand.
Yeah, it got out of hand pretty quick then too.
But I did see them at least, throw a couple counters. So it was nice to see that. So can we get a little sidebar?
What is your
what? Oh.
Jim Thomas says Berg's fault. You're not wrong, Jim. Berg didn't watch the first half. They were up by 5. When he tuned in, it all went south.
Yeah.
And I know you're that superstitious type of guy.
Yeah, you can blame it on me. But can we do a quick sidebar and just talk? Can we talk like 48 seconds on Jared Hensley? Like, what do you think?
He's getting better.
We got something there? We got something?
He's starting to play with some confidence. You saw it when you went to that practice. The kid is talented. He's got length. He's got size. I think, and let me know what you think. And you didn't watch a ton, but I want to know, when he was in the game early in the year, not early in the year, but for like 2/3 of the season, right? He was trying to just move the sticks, right? I'm trying to come in, play my 3 minutes, not hurt the team, and get it back to whoever I subbed in for, right? He wasn't playing trying to do anything.
Right.
He was playing trying to be like a non-factor. You know what I'm saying?
Serviceable.
Right. Like, I'm not looking to score points. Maybe I'll get a rebound. I'll defend my guy. But I'm just going to be out there and play these 3 minutes as hard as I can play them and keep the chains moving, if you will. Over the past 2.5, 3 weeks, what are you eating now?
Cheez-Its. I know. They're right here. All the kids' food is right in front of my face.
There's only one left, and it's down in the fridge. You can cut it in half. Huh? Down in the freezer, yeah. You got to love live internet broadcasting with your 11-year-old and her friend spending the night.
Nice.
I felt bad, Justin. I was joking around with her friend, and that I've kind of, built a reputation with Kelsey's friends that I do the internet thing, and kids love the internet thing. And her friend tries to come in and like be sarcastic and a smart aleck. And I was like, look, if you want to be smart, that's fine. Yeah.
But it's like an ice cream sandwich.
It is an ice cream sandwich. It's a cookie with ice cream in the middle.
Specified that it was a cookie ice cream sandwich. But it was like the ice cream too. It was like chocolate and ice cream.
Yeah, I'm on her side on that one. You did not specify. I would have been confused too, and / disappointed if I had been looking for the original ice cream sandwich.
They're from Cold Stone Creamery. They're bomb-ass ice cream sandwiches.
With their cookie ones. That's what she's saying. She was expecting the straight ice cream sandwich.
Like the wafer, the chocolate wafer or whatever.
So she was disappointed. But
anyhow, I'm joking with her friend.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, what I do is I cover sports, and I'm a smartass. That's what I do. And she's like, oh, you mess with Xavier fans, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I do that a little bit. She's like, my mom went to Xavier. And I went directly, inappropriately, to Xavier girls are ugly. And then I had to bring up the picture and show her the shirts from the 90s, that I was like, it was a thing. UC fans wore shirts to the crosstown shootout that were like, Xavier girls are ugly. I've never seen your mom. I don't know if your mom's ugly or not.
Well, you know what? You know what was really enjoyable though from that was that yesterday or 2 days ago when they blew that what was that against the Butler? Oh man,
The Butler did it. Yeah,
I did
that was
not
a
have
hot mess.
Yeah, I had
That was
a
a
lot of
hot
fun
mess.
when UC beat Illinois. I remember how much fun I had that day and night, and then I was like. In the back of my mind, I was like, this could be the height of the season. Like, this isn't expected to be a good team. And I said, like, all right, look, if the rest of the season, nothing great happens, like, at least we have that. And that was kind of it for me, really, the whole season. And then that Xavier game was the next time I've had that feeling. Oh, man, they missed 4 straight free throws on one possession and that foul at the end. And then, oh, man. They got cooked in that overtime by that Lacosius or whatever that his name is.
Yeah, you can't let a guy that averages 6 go for 27 or 20, whatever.
27, wow.
It was a lot. It was at least 25.
That motherfucker was like Luca out there, what he was doing to them. There's different step throughs and like he was hitting pull back threes from far. Man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You hate to see it. The things aren't good over on Victory Parkway.
But they have a good non-conference, so I bet they'll at least get one of the play-ins at the least. Don't you think? I mean, maybe Ohio State.
No, they lost 8 of 9, man. And they lost to St. John. They lost to St. John's. They lost to Butler. They lost to DePaul. Like the only thing they didn't do was lose to Georgetown, who's dreadful. But we're not here to talk about that. People aren't here to hear us talk about Xavier.
I know, but I'm just saying that the other night was very enjoyable for me, completely unexpectedly. I didn't even know they were playing. I turned on my TV to show my kid, put on a kids show, and it was like Xavier, Butler, and I saw the time it started. I was like, oh, it might be at the end. Let's see. Put it on with 4 minutes to go in regulation, and just like had the most out of nowhere enjoyable experience that it just made my night. And I called you, and we had a nice chat about it.
It was fun. It was. Sometimes it's good to laugh at your foes, right?
Yeah.
Back to UC. Like this is going to be a really interesting off season because I don't have a good feel of like how many spots are going to open yet. Like those the season essentially, and maybe it extends another couple weeks because they go into one of these tournaments or whatever the case may be. But the conversations haven't happened yet of like with David DeJulius, are you coming back? With some of these guys on the roster of like, look, we want you here, but you're probably going to be in a lesser role next year because we have these recruits coming in, or when things start happening, like we have this transfer coming in, that plays your position or whatever the case may be. Like that stuff hasn't started yet. And I don't have a good feel. Like if I told you last year I had a good feel that everybody was going to leave and the whole thing was going to fall apart and explode and John Branham was going to be fired and that, I would have been lying if I would have said that after Houston beat them by 274 points in the conference championship game.
God damn. But you know what? Yeah, you see some getting their ass kicked the last few years by Houston for sure, but some other teams recently. And you know what? It's like it's frustrating, obviously, but it's like what? That's what these other fan bases have felt when watching us. Like the way we feel against Houston right now, completely helpless. Like how many fan bases have just felt completely helpless against us for decades? So we got to eat some of it for a couple of years, and then Wes will bring it back, and then we can go back to fucking slapping that ass.
Think about this, Justin. This year is the first time Cincinnati hasn't played in the American Athletic Conference Championship game since 2016.
Right.
2017, they were in it. They played SMU. SMU won. 18, they won. 19, they won. 20 didn't exist. Last year, they made it to the championship game. Surprisingly, they beat Wichita.
Yeah.
They beat SMU. They made it to the championship game. So this is the first time since 2016 they weren't playing on Sunday for an AAC championship.
You know what? I just had this thought, and 2 players could have been on this team, but were not. And it is Tari Easton and Keith Williams. Talk about missing athleticism. Just imagine if those 2 dudes were in the fold, because they easily could have been. Like, I think Keith wanted to play, got a 5th year, and he wanted to stay.
No, well, you have a bad understanding of that situation.
Or either way, like, he could have stayed. Let's just leave it. Let's write that in the newspaper.
If he would have handled it properly when Wes got the job and left the door open, then he would have been able to stay. But Wes got the job. Keith was frustrated because of everything that has happened. He got some bad advice. He declared for the draft. He moved and went and worked with a trainer to get ready for the NBA draft. He had people in his ear tell him he was going to be drafted. Terrible advice, because that wasn't going to happen. If Keith would have gotten good advice and handled the situation right, he would have been a major factor on this team, because what's Wes want to do? Wes wants to press and, get in your face and, like, be aggressive. Keith would have been perfect for that.
Yeah, he would have been our Fabian White. Isn't Fabian White a 5th year? He's been around forever.
Shit. 6? Fabian White's been – Fabian White played against Eric Hicks, I'm pretty sure.
Jackson Juleson. But
right.
I think that's what you're saying. It's like, so that we could have had Keith, and then Eason, that was the one sale that Wes couldn't make. And I mean, it's hard to fault
him.
That
was done by the time Wes got the job.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it wasn't. He was trying to he was trying to pull a rabbit out of a fucking condom wrapper. I mean, that was such a hard sell he had to try to make, and he did his best. Didn't he go to Washington?
Did she just say he was trying to pull a rabbit out of a condom wrapper?
Yeah, I've never thought of that before. It just came out. But instead of a rabbit out of a hat, because that small of a hat, that was such a hard sell.
Yes.
Jimmy hat. Remember that Ice Cube, that Jimmy hat song he had?
Yes, I remember. I know exactly where you're coming from. I'm just audibly pointing out how hilarious that analogy is. He tried to pull a rabbit out of a condom wrapper. Wes got the job, got situated, and really started to try to get Tari to come back. And that's really, like, if they have Tari.
Oh, man.
They were probably playing today for, like, an NCAA tournament berth. Like, they probably would have still been on the bubble because there was deficiencies and whatnot.
Dude, he single-handedly solves your defensive rebounding.
Right.
He could have played the 5. He could have played the 5 easily.
You could play him with Abdul, because you would have then all of a sudden had a 4 that could really get you buckets.
No, I don't want to play a do. He only scores 3 points a game. I know.
Justin, let me point out something to you. What's the one thing you hated about last year's team more than anything?
Not stopping the ball and getting layups on them all the time was one of the
what
things.
Stopped with Abdul Adu on the roster?
Yeah, that. So obviously he had to play again.
So you want to take the guy that does the one thing that you felt last year's team was terrible at and take him off the floor. It would have been Abdul at the 5, but you could have survived Abdul not being able to score if you had Tari, who scored 18 points a game. He was first team All SEC. He was the 6th man of the year.
So it would have been Tari and Otto, and then
and Jeremiah would have been able to be like a rotation, like a spark, an energy, like a guy that could come in and bang you 2 or 3 threes. Right?
Yeah, imagine spacing where he can actually get some more room to operate. I mean, he could definitely be a high 30s, low 40s. Because a lot of the threes he took this year were really hard shots. My God.
He was 36% this year with taking impossible shots.
Did Julius lead the team in scoring?
I believe so, yeah.
I mean,
it was those two. I have to believe DeJulius eventually, yeah.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that one I predicted. All the rest of my preseason predictions didn't come true, but the record did, and who led the team in scoring. That's all I really got on the board.
Congratulations, I'm proud of you.
Yeah. All right, so let's just go back to this. So with the players returning, let's assume DeJulius isn't. Let's just say he's not. Would it be Saunders at the 1, like for sure? I mean, you think like Newman's at the 3? Do we what other positions would we know? Would Hensley start? Probably not.
I mean, Davenport's going to start.
Yeah, Davenport's going to start.
Newman's going to start. Point guard would be interesting between Saunders and Adams Woods if both are back. You'd have to, like, if DeJulius leaves, you're going to have to get a starting 2, period.
Yeah. Well, even if Adams Woods is back, which is fine, if he wants to come back, like let him come back. You know, he just has to come off the bench, like he just does. He does. You can't shoot that low of a percentage and be, play 30 minutes a game. You just can't, especially if you can't.
Well, nobody
create
plays 30
enough
minutes a game, but yeah.
Well, I mean, he played
DeJulius scored.
28.
DeJulius averaged 14.5. Davenport averaged 13.4. 8.6 for Micah, 7.3 for Saunders, which I'm surprised. That's playing 33 games. I didn't think he was up at 7.3.
Who was that?
Newman at 7, and then a significant
7.
drop. Like that's the problem, right? Odie 4.2, Vic 4.2, Mason 3.9, Koval 3.1, Ado 2.4.
Yeah. Well, he's gone. So the guy's coming back. I mean, I feel like Saunders just has to start and play 30 minutes. He just does. He just brings way too much more to the table than Adams Woods did. All due respect to Adams Woods. And then at the 2, that's the spot, right? Like if DeJulius comes back, it's probably his. But then, I mean, you look at Skillings. I mean, as a freshman, does he have the ability to come in and actually play a ton of minutes at the 2 if there's not really anybody else there?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I need to see him, what he looks like in college. What I saw from what he looked like in AAU and that level, sure. He looks really good, but, like, that's not what it looks like in college, Yeah. Like, I need to see what's he look like when practices start. Like, is he ready for the physicality? He's still pretty thin. Like, Josh Reed is thick.
Really? Tell me more. Yeah. Tell me more about Josh Reed, if you would. You told me a little.
Okay, Josh Reed, 6'7", 7'1" wingspan.
Lefty.
Lefty. Smarter than both of us combined.
Huh.
He wants to major in geology.
Nice.
Yeah. I think personally,
early in his career, he's probably best as like a mismatch 4. If he develops the way I think he can develop, I think he can be a 3. Like, he's not somebody, remember, like, everybody with Gary Clark is like, Gary needs to play the 3. It's like, are you out of your mind?
I know.
3.
My favorite shot blocker.
I think can be a 3. He shoots it at a solid clip. He's really good off the bounce from the wing, getting to the rim and getting to the foul line, and he's a high-level free throw shooter.
But you say you can't. He's not a vertical leaper.
He's not a super bouncy athletic guy. He reminds me defensively of Jaren. And that's not to say he's Jaren. Their games are not similar. But defensively, Jaren lived on his instincts, right? He lived on knowing when to get a hand out and smack the ball away. He knew when, like what a guy was trying to do to him. His basketball IQ, Josh, is very, very high. So man, he's going to be – if I'm looking at this class and you ask me who can probably make the quickest immediate impact, I think it's Josh.
Nice.
I think Skillings long-term is your big-time scoring guard.
So potentially, if Josh is good enough, he would play the 4 and Newman would play the 3, is what you're telling me.
I mean, Jeremiah is probably still going to start at the 4.
Well, but he's not necessarily. I mean, not necessarily. Maybe at
Are
the
you
beginning of
asking
the
my
year.
opinion, or are you telling me my opinion's wrong and giving me your opinion?
I'm saying, what will the team be when it's fully
next
formed
year?
Yeah.
Next year, I would guess Jeremiah starts at the 4, and Josh is a guy you can bring in
or the 4
and
or
give
the
you
3.
those like at the 4. And then if Hensley continues to develop, Hensley's a guy now you can use behind Newman at the 3. Hensley played a majority of the time this year at the 3.
I thought he was a 4 or 5. Like,
No.
he's no. Oh, wow, good. Okay. Can he handle well enough? Like, can he dribble the ball, Hensley? Can he?
Yeah, I mean, the
off
thing
dribble?
he needs to work on is consistency in his outside shot.
But can he run
If
a
he
pick and
can-
roll? Yeah, that's what I want
If he
to
can
know.
get up to 33, 34%, he can be your backup at the 3.
Okay. So Newman and him, Oguama and
Vic at the 5.
Davenport. Oh, yeah, Oguama and Vic at the 5. Okay.
Right now, like as the roster
Yeah,
stands, they're gonna bring in a big for sure.
Right. Oh, they have to.
So, and then the question becomes like the 1 and the 2. Like, is Dave back? I think you could survive with Dave at the 1 if you have to. But I think we saw last year it's just not something he's overly comfortable with. Like running. He wants to be the guy that's coming off screens.
Yeah.
That's getting freed.
Yeah.
By the style, the design of the offense, not the guy with the ball in his hand. Because when you have Dave running off screens, guess what? You're creating switches, you're creating mismatches. Then when he gets the ball, now he can do his hesitation, step back, stop and go, because he's got a mismatch. If you're just strictly relying on him to do that from the 1, I think you're stagnating your offense.
Although
then what happens?
He can play make, though. He can play make. It's just there needs to be space for him to do it, and there's just no fucking space this year. So
that's
fair. He didn't play. Thus, he did not play make too much, and he just only tried to get his own shot because no one else could.
But what we saw from him last year when he was playing the 1, what happens when you have a 1 that's doing that? Everybody stands around and watches, right? If he's your 2, he's part of the motion, right? He's part of the movement. And then maybe when he gets the ball, it stops a little bit, but you've created a mismatch. You've created the defense has to move. You're getting them in disadvantageous positions. When he's just the 1 standing there dribbling the ball, the defense doesn't have to move. You're not getting any rotation. You're not getting any action. And then in my timeline, it just blows up. Why is everybody standing around? Well, because the only guy that can create is the guy that brought the ball across the timeline. And when the only guy that can create is the guy that brought the ball across the timeline, nobody has to move. Nobody has to do anything. The defense just stands there and goes, all right, do your thing. And if you make it, you make it. And if not, we've got 4 bodies there to rebound.
Yeah. Okay. So then Newman at the 3, Saunders at the 1, Locken at the 5, Davenport at the 4, and potentially DeJulius at the 2. So what you're telling me is unless they bring in some hot shot transfers, it could be a starting 5 of guys who are on this year's team.
Yeah. Well, you told me I'm not allowed to I have to make this conversation right now.
No, I'm saying
about the current roster.
Yeah, right. So what you're doing is you're putting guys who didn't play as much, giving them more, give Victor Locken more touches, and give Davenport and DeJulius a few less. Run some stuff through Victor at the top of the key. Let him do some shit.
Let him pin a guy down, post up, get the ball, and put it in the basket.
Yeah. Get him the ball in some spots where he can make some plays for others and himself, and you can get some shot creation out of him if you have enough spacing. So Davenport does space the floor. Newman does not. Saunders doesn't quite. So the two's going to really need to do it.
He shot. What did we talk about? He shot.
Yeah, he does a little. He does a little bit.
35.9% on 78 shots. 36% on 78 shots.
I'm keeping my Saunders stock. Keeping my Saunders stock. And I'm gonna get a little Newman stock for his final run there.
Saunders also second on the team in assists. He had 89 assists on the year.
Yeah.
Julius with 86.
I'm considering buying
33 games,
low.
almost 3 assists a game.
I'm considering buying low on some Jared Hensley stock. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, but I'm considering just getting a little bit for next year. What else we got? So Davenport and Adams Woods. I mean, if they're in lesser roles, they can help. And then Lock-in, I don't know. I had stock, and then I was about to buy stock, and I just didn't get to the broker in time. And I didn't get to the broker in time to buy it, and I was like, well.
And then it bottomed out.
Yeah, I was like, all right, well, didn't lose anything there. So I don't have any on him, and I'm not sure if I'm purchasing anymore. Would you purchase any of Victor Lock-in stock?
Yeah, as long as I knew he could be healthy. Like, that's going to be the thing with Vic. Like, he's a 7-footer with a bad knee and a hip that's causing him problems. Like, I want to buy Vic stock because I think Vic, if we're being honest, has the overall most long-term like potential / talent of the guys that are on the roster right now.
Agreed.
But can he be healthy? Can he practice? Can he develop? Because you develop in practice. And if you can't practice, can't develop. If you can't get in the gym, spend time working on your game, it's very hard to get better.
Yeah. But he does have that potential because we saw it. And so you put him at the 5, put him at the 5, and you keep Davenport on as a 4 to space the floor, and you hope that Lock-in can protect the rim and that Newman's a good enough defender to hide Davenport. You got to get a little more size in the backcourt somehow because that's not a lot of size there. And with Lock-in as like your tallest guy, but he's not going to be that agile.
You have to get a rim protector, period, this offseason. I would guess right now, and people have been begging me to do this. I would guess somehow it's 2022. Roster changes happen. I would guess at least 2, potentially 3 roster moves, changes happen as the offseason begins. I personally, with no insider knowledge, I have to always make that clear. There are times I'm speaking with insider knowledge. There are times I'm not. Now I'm just speaking personally. Big man that can protect the rim and get you at least some productivity as a scorer.
Finish. Be able to finish. That's all you really need. Make a decent percentage of free throws.
Scoring wing with some length and size. More importantly, length, but with some length and size. And then a point guard. Those would be the 3 things that would be at the top of my list.
Yeah, well, those seem that's the top of a lot of coaches' lists. Those exact things.
Sure, right? The 3 most important things in basketball, right? A point guard, a scoring wing, and a big, like a productive big. Yeah, I want those 3 things.
They just need a wing that can shoot the ball and make a few plays. I mean, that has some length. I mean, that's what everybody wants, but hopefully Skillings is that.
Yeah. And look, man, maybe it's not right away, but freshmen make an impact in college basketball. There's going to be a chance. I think Sage is probably going to take a little time because they're going to have to get him stronger. They're going to have to get him more physically ready for this level.
Oh, dude, hold on a second. What about McGinnis? Did he redshirt? What the hell happened to him this year?
So he basically played a little bit, got sick, got hurt, hasn't been able to come back from an ankle injury that he had. My guess is it's going to end up a medical red shirt.
Yeah.
We didn't see him at the end of the season. Usually when that happens, it's medical red shirt. So, or at least that's you have to get it through the NCAA. That has to be granted. You can't just say like, "Hey, it's medical red shirt." Like you gotta prove it. That would be my guess with that.
Well, I hope he's still on the roster next year because when I watched that practice, he was the one of the few guys that I enjoyed watching play. And sorry, that's a tough thing to say about a team, but I enjoyed the shit that he did with the ball, and he looked like his shot was smooth. And
so I took basically by getting you into that practice, I took the joy of this season away from you because you were like, these guys don't have it. I remember that conversation afterwards. You were like, "Oh, Chad, I didn't like what I saw."
Yeah, but
and then people got angry.
Yeah.
When you were like, "That's what I saw was a 17-win team," and guess what it was, Berg?
17. Mm-hmm.
I've had you on staff for a long time for a reason, right?
Yeah.
We may argue over semantics and disagree on some things, but your basketball knowledge is right there.
Well, but that kid, I wanted to see him play. He played a couple games. He didn't hit that much from deep, but his shot looked nice. And I wanted to see more of him. I know that West said he had a problem staying in front of people, but like you said, he was injured. So could he potentially be a dude that could start, or not start, but get in the rotation next year?
He would, from what I know, he has so much work to do on defense that he didn't get really a chance to improve on because of what he was dealing with. Like you have to be able to at least there were some talks that like he would have trouble staying in front of you at times. And
does he have like the Keith Williams hops thing? The Keith Williams hops going on? Or
no? He's more of a shooter. Like I guess the problem with when you're like looking at the roster construction, he's really not that different than Mason Madsen. Can you keep two of those guys? Like I've talked about this a little. I think this is important going forward. This roster is built on one skill guys that can do one thing, guys that can do one thing well. Like generally there's three boxes, right? Defend, rebound, offense. And this roster right now has a lot of guys that are good at one of the three things. Very few guys that even check like half of that second box. Right? And nobody that checks all three.
Right.
If AJ's just a shooter, which he's got to prove he's more than just a shooter, how different is he than Mason? And which one are you like? Can you keep both?
I think he's more than a shooter. I saw a little bit of ball handling and kind of getting some space too. I've never really seen Mason make any kind of plays for anybody else. He's made some threes and some jumpers and stuff, but I've never really seen him create anything and like dish to somebody for a nice look.
Yeah, but if you've got somebody that can be a 40% three-point shooter, like as a situational bench piece, that's very valuable.
I know.
Very valuable.
But like against length, it's like they can get in there. So he has to be able to get in there a little bit more and move the defense a little bit and then move it to help the flow of the shit. And they didn't have enough guys that could just at least get through one level of the defense to kind of get some sort of space and then another couple passes and you got something.
There was nobody at the rim that could score.
I know. I'm just saying no one could get by their man is the point, is what I'm saying. No one could get by their man. The one guy that could get by his man, or the guys that could get by his man were too small. Like it was tough.
I know. It's going to be a fascinating offseason. Fascinating. Yeah. Anybody got questions for Berg? Berg has hammered me with questions. We've been on for an hour and 15 minutes. What are you eating now? You got the peanut M&Ms?
Chocolate covered raisins. They're just like
chocolate covered raisins.
The ones from Costco. My dad brings them over every so often, and whenever he does, I can't keep my hand out of there.
Questions for Berg. We got 27 people live with us right now, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
What was the dunk of the year for this team?
Oh, John Newman.
Yeah.
What was that? I guess it was the USF game.
How about who led this team in dunks? Somebody with like 4.
Probably Abdul, just because he got a couple at the rim because he was.
I don't know,
great,
man. I bet you he
anybody.
didn't. I bet you he didn't. I bet you he didn't. If I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Hensley probably had the. You're right. Hensley probably had the dunk of the year. Was that the first Houston game? Or no,
I think
SMU.
I think that was SMU.
That was the dunk of the year. I'll get that one was the dunk of the year for sure.
Yeah.
The Newman baseline one was probably second for sure.
There was a lot of dunks of the year against UC. My God, did they get hammered on this year? Just like repeatedly. Hammered and re-hammered on.
How about the UCF game where they had 9 dunks?
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure UC had 9 dunks in conference play.
Yeah, it was bad. It's amazing to go from the most athletic to the least. And I mean, like Tulane is just tough. Like we had no chance against Tulane's athletes. Crazy to say.
But also shows just how fast a roster can turn in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, you know me, I love me some Ron Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's a fun team. He's always going to have fun teams. This team this year just didn't give me a lot of joy, like in terms of just watching them play, because like they weren't especially nasty defensively or any of that stuff, and like obviously the rebounding thing was frustrating, and then on offense it was never any kind of consistency going with just.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so I like it was like last year. Tari Eason was a guy that I would be like, man, I got to see him. He's a freshman, dude. That he has a chance to play in the NBA. Like I could tell that right away. Last year, and then he was just ripped away, and then it was like, but there was no one that was approaching him as like a box office. I gotta watch this guy this year, so I missed a few games. With my daughter.
That's bad.
Leah, come here. All right, I'm gonna go rock her. I might have to bow out of this.
No, that's fine. Did you see the Skillings dunk a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was nice, but I think it was off 1 foot though. I like off 2 foot dunks better.
He's a 1 foot jumper. He's a 6'7" wing, man. James White was a 1 foot dunker.
I know. I just like 2 better.
Whatever.
But I saw it and it was very nice. What about Tolentino? Has he done anything in high school worthy of note?
So the problem with Sage is he messed up his knee in the summer. And it took a pretty good deal of the summer into the start of the high school season for him to get back to 100%. His coach did the right thing and kind of eased him back into the flow of things. Once he got back and was like able to get like regular minutes, he had a good senior season senior season. But it wasn't a situation where you had a kid that was like healthy and ready to go. So a little bit frustrating.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of people I knew that saw him and they didn't come away with anything like any kind of glowing review, but maybe he just wasn't healthy.
He wasn't. And the coach took care of him and made sure that like it wasn't a situation where they were forcing him back too early and it messed up his knee again. Half the league's more athletic and long. Yeah. I mean, like I told you guys this like 6 weeks ago. This is a middle of the AAC roster, and they finished just below the middle of the AAC. Like it. Sometimes the truth hurts. This is a good one for you, Berg. Favorite UC dunker ever, and why is it Eric Hicks?
Yeah, it's definitely Eric Hicks.
You want 2 feet power dunkers.
It's probably a tie between Hicks and Max Seal. It's just I can't pick one over the other.
Kenyon? You're not a Kenyon guy?
Kenyon, I thought he could have done more than just 2-handers. He didn't do enough reverses or like, maybe like windmills or 360s or anything. Like he just every time. I mean, it was a hard, nice 2-hander, but it was like I need a little more variety with that much athleticism. Dude, he could like put his balls on the rim.
I love you, Berg.
Like he should have been like Obi Toppin trying all kinds of shit. But that's why I just like the power of Hicks and Max Seal at their size. 6'5", just hammering and rehammering on people. So it's probably those two tied for first.
Justin Berg, the dunk connoisseur. All right, man, this was awesome. It was a good time. I'm glad you hit me up. We just did an hour and 20 minutes on a show that's supposed to be 20 minutes.
Nice.
We had a good crowd. We were right around 25, 30 viewers the entire time. Congruent. We'll get this up on YouTube and get it posted on the site, and everybody can check it out this week. But I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, I'll check back in when we see what the full roster is going to be, and we'll go through it.
I'm sure you're going to have lots of. That's why you like to do this, because you just like to hammer me with questions.
Yeah, but I also need to get things off my chest that I've been seeing all year that I haven't,
right?
Typed up.
Haven't had an outlet, right?
Yeah.
If you want to write a season in review, go ahead and send it to me.
It could.
Brian says, good to see you, Berg. Don't be a stranger.
Yep. I mean, when I have time and energy and I'm interested, I won't be a stranger. I didn't have much time. I wasn't that interested this year, so I was a stranger.
I have somebody that wants to say hi.
Hi there.
She was wondering when the hell these are supposed to be 20-minute shows. They've been going for an hour and a half. She's like, what the hell's going on in there?
I know. Well, we're ending it now. My daughter did fall back asleep. I'm about to put her in bed, and I need to go to sleep.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Love you. And we will we'll do something like this again soon. Thanks to everybody for tuning in on a Friday night, hanging out with us. This kind of stuff is really cool. So thanks. And I'll be back with Aaron, I think, tomorrow night for your regularly scheduled program. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken. I'm Chad Brendel. He was Justin Berg. We'll see you next time. It's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.